The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 2-5. Their quarterback had 15 turnovers. The New England Patriots, meanwhile, were 7-0, and they were the defending Super Bowl champs. What a difference a year and Thomas Edward Brady can make. Here's where they are today. Brady is playing every bit as well as he ever has. 18 touchdowns, 4 picks. He has 17 touchdowns from a clean pocket this season. No one else has more than 12. No quarterback has thrown more touchdowns into tight windows than he has. And he has a higher passer rating when throwing to wide receivers than he did in 2007, which is the year he rewrote all the records with Randy Moss and Wes Welker. Plus, his team right now is the FPI favorite to win the NFC. His old team, the Patriots, are 2-4. Their quarterbacks have thrown 3 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. They've scored 12 points or fewer in 3 consecutive games. With Brady, they never did that in 2 straight. And they are 2.5 games out of the division lead. That is their largest deficit since 2000, which was the year before Tom Brady became their quarterback. So, does all of this mean it was more Brady than Bill all those years in Foxborough? Of course not. But if you were one who wanted to make that argument and all you needed were the numbers to back you up, Mr. Hembo and I simply say, you're welcome. Those are the numbers. Well, let me bring the crew in here to react. I'm looking for a smile. I'm looking for a laugh. I'm looking for a reaction. I got one in Dominique Foxworth shaking his head at me. What do you say, Neek?
I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch. I understand how you couch that last little statement and said, I'm not saying it, but if you wanted to say it, here are the numbers for you. But, I mean, it's not a fair situation. It's only been like 7 weeks of football, and Bill Belichick has come into the season with several starters opting out from coronavirus. Then his quarterback gets it, and we don't know how that's impacting him on his return. Then his best cornerback, possibly the best defensive player in the league, gets the coronavirus and has to sit out, and we're not sure how that's going to impact him coming back. Like, I think it's very difficult to draw these conclusions. I think this team would be a lot better if it weren't for those circumstances. And I'm pretty sure Tom Brady wouldn't be having the success that he's having if his team was hit as aggressively by the virus in those situations as Bill Belichick was. So I think you're probably right. If you have to pick one, Belichick or a franchise quarterback, you're probably safer going with a franchise quarterback, but I'm not so sure that I'm ready to give all of their 20 years of dynasty over to give most of the credit to Brady because of 7 weeks of football so far this season.
RC, what do you say?
Listen, this is the question I ask you. Are the Miami Sharks a legendary football team because Tony D'Amato gives great pregame speeches or because Willie Beeman was his quarterback? I think it's about Willie Beeman. Listen, quarterback is just a more important position in football than head coach it is. I mean, I think when you look at what the quarterback can do, when you look at many of these great head coaches, they have certain teams that don't do as well because they don't have someone at that position. We can look at Kyle Shanahan, who I think is one of the great football minds, until he got Jimmy Garoppolo, someone that could do some of the things that he wanted to at that position. He didn't win football games. Now you look at Tom Brady going over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, he's assembled a better unit of people around him, but that team is playing so much better offensively. Even Andy Reid, who we always knew was a Hall of Fame caliber coach and had Donovan McNabb. He's had Alex Smith, who number 1 overall pick, number 2 overall pick, but he gets Patrick Mahomes and finally gets over the hump. I don't necessarily think it has to do with the 2 people we're talking about individually. And I agree with Dominique. We can't take 7 weeks and say that Tom Brady was more important to the New England Patriots dynasty than Bill Belichick is. But I think this does show us that a great player at the quarterback position beats a great head coach every day of the week.
Let me get Graziano in here. What's your reaction? You covered that team, the Patriots anyway, last week, and you've been around them a lot. What's your reaction to the numbers?
I think there's no way we're ever going to answer that question, right? This is like LeBron versus Jordan. It'll be debated forever. Who was more responsible for it, Belichick or Brady?
That question is answered, Dan. That's not the same. Not the same.
Certainly,
not the same.
There's no way to answer a question like that. Certainly, you can't do it with just a half a season worth of evidence. But what I thought here was Brady identified that the roster in New England was hollowed out and he needed to get somewhere better for the final chapter of his career, whereas Belichick is kind of stuck with it because he is the system in New England that Brady could bail out on. So I don't buy Dominique's theory that the difference between Tampa Bay's roster and New England's is that one was hit by the coronavirus and the other wasn't. I think on paper, Tampa Bay had better anyway. To say the Patriots have a lot of problems is kind of like saying Ryan's been watching a lot of movies during quarantine.
Let's hold this thought.
Any given Sunday, anything can happen.
I have to get to some other stuff here, but I want to come back to this because there's a lot of this I think we haven't explored. So Nick Sciala, my producer, let's come back to this. Meantime, I need to go to this. Robert Stanberry Olney III, you know him as Buster, is going up against Hembo, and here we go. Buster Olney, including the postseason, the Dodgers went 56-22 by winning percentage. That's the second best record for a World Series champ. Buster, which team has the best?
Yeah, sure enough, Hembo is going to throw this at me in a morning which I didn't get much sleep, and I'm having a hard time doing the math in my head. I'm going to say the 1939 Yankees.
Oh, it's a good guess. The 39 Yankees are always a good guess, but so are the 27 Yankees, and that's the answer. The 27 Yankees went 114-44. They were 110-44 in the regular season, and they sweep the World Series, and so it was them, not their counterparts of 12 years later. But that's not a bad guess. Buster, for those just waking up, let me show them what happened last night. Game 6, World Series, craziest night of the baseball year by far. Dodgers with a chance to clinch. Blake Snell dealing on the mound with a 1-0 lead in the first inning. He strikes out the side and looks dominant. Betts goes down. Seager goes down. Justin Turner goes down. Top of 6, he's still dealing. He's given up just one hit. And as we take it to the 6th inning here, again, Snell facing Austin Barnes. Again, he's given up just the one hit. 5 1/3 innings, 9 strikeouts, 73 pitches. That's his second hit allowed. And Kevin Cash says, I've seen enough. He goes to the bullpen. He gets Nick Anderson, who was allowed to run in 6 straight appearances. Anderson facing Corey Seager with 2 on and 1 out. That's in the dirt. A run will score. We're tied at 1. The frustration from Cash. Later in the at-bat, Seager going to ground one. And as always, Mookie Betts' speed making a huge difference. Scoring from third on the play. Dodgers take a 2-1 lead. So that's part of the story, was the decision to pull Betts. The other huge part, the story that draws enormous amounts of attention. Still in the 6th inning, Justin Turner is going to fly to the track and left for his second out of the inning. You are then going to see him in the dugout reacting to being told that he has tested positive for the coronavirus and he is being pulled from the game immediately. So bookmark that one in your mind. He gets pulled. Game goes on. Mookie Betts to the plate. Bottom of 9. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Mookie Betts had hit a home run. This is bottom of 9. Julio Urias striking out Willie Adames to end the ball game, and the Dodgers win the World Series for the first time since 1988, and the celebration is on. Snell can't believe it. Dodgers take it 4-2, and oh my goodness, how'd he get there? Justin Turner on the field celebrating with his teammates without a mask after the game, tweeting, quote, "Thanks to everyone reaching out. I feel great. No symptoms at all. Just experienced every emotion you can possibly imagine. Can't believe I couldn't be out there to celebrate with my guys. So proud of this team and unbelievably happy with the city of LA. Hashtag World Series champs." So, Buster, we don't want to talk about this, obviously, but it is the overwhelming story that everyone is talking about. How did this happen, and what reaction have you been hearing since it did?
Well, you